There are 5 really boring Google Ads campaigns you can use to scale your e-commerce brand in 2026. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly what they are and how you can use them to scale your e-commerce brand from 7 figures to 8 figures per year with Google Ads. This is the same stuff we do at Demand Capture, where we spend hundreds of thousands of dollars every single month, up to millions every single month for our clients. And so my promise to you by the end of this video is that you'll know exactly how to set up these campaigns. If you aren't running one of these 5 campaigns in your Google Ads account already, you can then do it the right way. And if you want a more technical setup of how to actually do it, I'm just going to cover the campaigns now on this iPad. But if you want a more technical setup of like how to do it, how it might apply to your product, that type of stuff, then there's a full course that we've released for e-commerce brands who want to scale with Google Ads. It's 4 hours. It's got literally everything we use just as a demonstration that we know what we're doing. We're just giving out free value. If you want to go through that, that's fine. If you want us to implement it specifically to your brand, tailored, done for you, white glove, then stick around to the end of the video. You can then go and check out our stuff after that. But like I said, 5 boring Google Ads campaigns that can scale your e-commerce brand in 2026.
So when it comes to Google Ads, you want to think of your Google Ads campaigns as a funnel. So you've got your top of funnel here, your middle of funnel here, and then you've got your bottom of funnel here.
But there are different campaigns that you use to scale each section of this here. In terms of budget allocation, just quickly before we go into the campaigns, top of funnel should be around 80% of your budget, 80 to 85%. Middle of funnel here should be around 10 to 15%. And then you're only really using 5% of your budget on the bottom of funnel stuff. Most people's of this is reverse, right? We don't want that. We want to set up campaigns in a way which are going to get top of funnel new customers. And so this is what we do. Now, the first 2 campaigns that we're going to be setting up, which are just the bottom of funnel ones. This is branded search. We've got branded search here, and then we've got branded shopping. And you may be wondering, Jordan, why do you want to run just a specific branded search campaign or just a specific branded shopping campaign? And the reason why is because you always want to, and I always preach this on this channel, segment your branded and your non-branded terms. If you have all your branded terms in your prospecting campaigns, then Google's going to see your highly converting terms and then be like, oh, we want to get more of those conversions. And it's not going to be what you want for your campaigns. All your clicks are going to go to the easiest to convert terms. You're not going to be converting on any top of funnel customers, and you're already paying for customers who are already aware of you, and you don't want that, especially if you're spending most of your budget on top of funnel stuff. So you want to set up a branded search campaign specifically and a branded shopping campaign just to capture your core brand search terms. So your brand name in exact match. The way that you set this up is this way. So for the shopping, what you do is that you auto exclude everything else. And I really do mean everything else but your brand name. And the way that you do this is by setting up an automated script, which you can get again in our free Google Ads course, link in the description. I won't be able to go through the script now, but this is how you do it. So you set up your branded shopping and you set up manual CPC with a relatively low CPC, maybe like 30 cents, 50 cents, maybe even $1 or so. But you just kind of see where your CPC line is. And so you've excluded literally every other term but your brand terms outside your branded shopping. And then you're only showing up for your branded results, and you're only paying a little bit to get enough search impression share and to show up on the first position on your shopping listings for all of your products, all SKUs in there, just for people who are searching for your best sellers. And if you want to curate even more which SKUs are showing up, so you just have your best sellers in there, or you can literally just put all your products in there when people are searching your brand name. You just make sure that when someone searches your brand name, not only is your search dominated with absolute top impression share, there's a bidding strategy, so you got like upwards of 90%, 100% absolute top impression share, but the shopping listings for your brand name is also done there too. So for example, if a competitor starts bidding on your brand terms, or Google thinks your brand name is going to be good to link up on a competitor's shopping SKU, then this basically covers that. So you're bidding just enough on a specific term for your brand name to be able to come up on there. And then for branded, it's a bit different. So this bidding strategy is manual CPC. Over here, you use absolute target impression share. And the reason why you use absolute target impression share is because the whole goal of a branded search campaign is to be at the top of your term, to beat out your competitors and make sure that when someone is searching your brand name, you're at the top and you have the most click-through rate that actually at the top there. But there's all these other different bidding strategies that people use when we do audits. We do a lot of audits every single week at Demand Capture that people are using for their branded search campaigns. First of all, props to you if you do have a branded search campaign, you've got an agency in your account that is using one. That's good. The main mistake is that they end up using something called TROAS, or they do manual CPC, or God forbid they have a TCPA on their brand terms, and then the brand terms are all like phase match, right? Or God forbid broad match, so it is just like your brand name. And if you go into the search term report and you see your brand name and it has really high CPCs, it has like stuff that isn't profitable at all, and they don't even filter it out, they just set up a branded terms and it's got like a 6 ROAS and they're okay with that. No, you can get like 24x ROAS if you set it up like you do with the absolute target impression share, right? Target ROAS, like, okay, we want to get a certain ROAS for this. If you just set it at like a 6, Google's going to get you the 6 ROAS, but you can get a 24x ROAS. And you don't want to set it at like a 24x target ROAS, because that's really silly. No one actually sets that that. Manual CPC, yeah, you want to control the amount they're actually spending per brand, and that's good. But the manual CPC ends up being really low anyway, because you set the maximum CPC that you'll spend on the absolute target impression share in the first place. So that's already taken care of. You don't need this, and you don't need this one. Target cost per conversion, that's going to be at least like $3, $4. And most people don't set a TCPA of $3 and $4. Any of these bidding strategies is just plain wrong. We want to make sure that we're at the top of the page at all times, but that is also the bidding strategy, which then gets you the most efficiency out of your branded search campaign. You want to set an absolute target impression share with an exact match of your brand name at around 90 to 95 target impression share with a manual CPC of around $2 to $3. And this will get you everything that you need to be able to be on that. So that's how you set up those two. Again, if you want more details for how we actually set it up, justifications as for why, free course link in the description. So those are the first two boring ones that you get. Now the middle of funnel boring ones, this is where most people spend 80% of their budget, but actually you should only be spending 10 to 15% of your middle funnel budget. And most of it is going to be around a couple of campaigns. So it's going to be shopping. These are all prospecting campaigns, by the way. So it's going to be shopping. This is going to be product level search. So not problem level search. And then you got PMAX, which could just basically be the one thing for that. You could just actually have one like giant PMAX. And you set these up in the opposite way that you set up these branded shopping campaigns. So for the prospecting shopping campaign, instead of having an automated script which gets rid of everything but your brand name, you have an automated script which gets rid of your brand name completely. And then every single day you go through the search terms and you exclude any irrelevant, non-high intent keywords, product level keyword on that term. And you just make sure that the product title, the product image, the product description is all linked to the product aware level of the market. So you are just dominating in, like, say you're selling mushroom shoes for dogs. You make sure you have mushroom shoes for dogs in your product title. So that's how you set that up. Product level search, again, you are just kind of targeting exact match, shoes for pups. So you've got the exact match there. You also got the face match if you want it, but then you can also do the broad match too. And that's basically a lot of your budget going into maximize clicks with manual CPC, or if you've got enough account data in your account, you've got a certain conversion rate that you want to hit, say for example in that supplement way, you've got a target CPA, you've got a break even new customer CPA that you want to do, and you've got like a certain subscription take rate, you can just set a target CPA on that. And I do recommend scaling search with that, where you have uncapped budget, but you just have a target CPA on that to be able to spend less than what your actual budget is per day, but you're basically maxing out on the amount that you're willing to spend for that particular search term. And if you did just want to run the PMAX for this middle of funnel, I don't blame you. It's pretty much a fine way to do it. And if you don't want to go crazy with the shopping and the search, you can just run a feed only PMAX. And then once you run the feed only PMAX, this will take care of just the shopping listings, and you can just have the search separate. But also you can do the search within PMAX, and that's fine. Either way, you only want to be spending 10 to 15% of your budget in the middle of funnel. So we've got the bottom of funnel here, branded search, branded shopping. We've got the middle of funnel, shopping, product level search, 10 to 15% of that. Now, that doesn't mean you're not spending that much on it. It just means that you're only spending 10 to 15% of your total budget on that way. And if you don't have enough to invest into the top of funnel stuff with the true scale, then that's totally fine. You don't need to do that. You can just spend anywhere between $500 to, depending on your product category, $10,000 per month on this. But really where the full scale goes to, where you are going like top of funnel, which is where all the money is these two. These two campaigns, and this will wrap up the total of the 5 boring campaigns that you need to use to scale your Google Ads in 2026, is problem aware search. So this is where you have custom advertorials, custom listicles for particular search phrases, either 4-word to like 8-word long search phrases, which are high intent, how to, best way to, around the problem. So how to lower your blood pressure, how to improve my sleep, how to stop a certain dog symptom, how to get rid of wrinkles, how to get rid of a certain condition. These tend to have low impression volume, but you can get high CVR. So you can get anywhere from like a 5 to an 8% conversion rate on these. And this is like a massive moat. And if you have a whole bunch of these with all these different landing pages, all these different final URLs, you're able to build a giant moat on like a 400 per month impression volume term, but you have like a 20% click-through rate and an 8% conversion rate. That's just like extra stuff, and they all stack on. So each particular high intent problem aware keyword is its own funnel, is its own traffic, which gets 400 eyes on it per month. So like 100 visitors if you have a good click-through rate on it, and it just goes down and down and down. You cover like hundreds of these different terms, each of them with their own particular landing page. It's a big operation, and we do this for a couple of clients, but this is where 80 to 85% of your budget should be going, as well as into more product level search. So you're scaling like another product level search campaign, you're scaling on TCPA with a budget uncapped. And then most of your budget, of course, big eye here, is going into YouTube. So this is demand gen. So you're going into demand gen here. You've got shorts, you've got in-stream, you've got display and feed. And most importantly, with the in-stream stuff, you've got TV placements. You've got connected TV. Shorts has a massive mobile market, especially in the US. But really, the big scale is basically all of the cheap placements that are on TV, which are actually really high converting. So as long as you have the unit economics, you have a great offer, you have the creative for it, which you ought to if you're moving into Google, like high scale Google, you should already have meta sorted. Google's like second place to it. You can scale your whole brand off Google, that's fine. But you know, if you do have meta as well, then that's great. Google should only be around 20 to 30% of your total budget anyway. That's just a topic for another video. But if you are going full top of funnel and you got the unit economics, you got the offer and you got the creative for it, then yeah, going all in on demand gen, shorts, in-stream, TV, massive mobile placements, really cheap CPMs, really cheap CPCs. This is how we do boring just campaigns campaigns. That's all you really need for your e-com. You have your bottom of funnel here, which is just 5%, which is just 2 campaigns. You have, depending on your product category, say you have like 1 or 2 hero SKUs, or even just a few more, like a collection or category. You have just a couple of middle funnel campaigns, and then you have like your strong big spender top of funnel campaigns. Now you don't run many campaigns because you've got signal density that you want to adhere to. That's a topic for another video, but you do really just keep it to these 5 boring campaigns, and you should be able to scale your e-commerce brand from 7 and 8 to even multiple 8 figures per year, with Google contributing around 20 to 30% of that. So if you want to find out a bit more about the technical setup of this, then there's a full course, link in the description, and also be on screen at the end of this video. And if you want us to implement this full funnel for you for your e-commerce brand, we can set that up for you for a one-time payment. And also we can continue doing all the media buying stuff, all the technical stuff, all the data analytics, all of the creative suggestion, all of the funnel building for the problem aware stuff, all of the media buying, having an insight onto it. Google isn't the most important advertising channel for an e-commerce brand in 2026, but it is the second most important. If you don't have an optimized Google ad strategy, you are losing on 20 to 30% of new customers which you could be getting, which are just already there. People are already going to be searching for the product that you sell. You may as well be there to capture that demand, hence the name. But then there's also a massive opportunity to spend 80 to 85% of the budget that you would be allocating to Google, but onto YouTube, where you're able to reach people if you have the right unit economics, if your product makes sense, if your new customer acquisition cost isn't crazy and it can withhold on YouTube with the creatives, then you can spend an extra $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $10,000 per day, and even more, which we are doing with clients, spending up to 30K a day, 60K a day on YouTube profitably, first order profitable, with your cohort if your product needs it, with LTV that buys over and over and over again, especially if you sell to an older demographic as well. Massive amount of boomers on YouTube too. Big opportunity for this. These are the boring campaigns you need to be running with your e-commerce brand in 2026. If you want a full breakdown of how to exactly do that for yourself, you want to do it yourself, all the information is out there. We've given it to you in a full course, link in the description. If you want us to do it for you, the second link in the description, brandcapture.com. Watch the VSL, check out the case studies, and then book a call, and we'll see if it works for you. Go watch that free course now, and I'll see you in the next video.